What is up, y'all? How you doing? I hope you are well. Okay. It's been a tiring week, but I am off now. How does y'all be doing? Yeah, I took holiday vacation. Basically. You know. Playing the Steam Door Fortress. I've been seeing so much talk about it. It looks really good. I'm testing out some background stuff here. Trin, thank you for the bits. Appreciate it. Yeah, I slapped some mountain ranges together. Just to see how that would look. Just silhouettes. I actually took a look at Cruising USA because I was curious. I I couldn't quite remember what their rendering strategy was. But it appears that it's weird. I'm not totally sure if the track is fully 3D or not. It certainly uses a sort of pseudo 3D racer feel, because you can't just like go driving wherever you want. You're locked to the road in a very similar fashion. Like the gameplay feels very Outrun, but yeah, the cars are 3D models. The roadside sprites are sprites, billboards. This is on the Phaser 3 engine. And the car is a Nissan Skyline R32. I don't think so, Seth. I'm pretty sure they don't let you do that. Eclecticism, thank you for 5 years. Very much appreciated. Because it's not a real car. And it's also not like I haven't put any sort of consideration into any sort of realism aspects whatsoever about it. I just basically picked the car and it's a test sprite. So I'm going to try to avoid falling into a rut this evening and just try to do various little whatevers. Just like try to do different things. Maybe do some cleanup and or improvements in some areas. Starting to get a little tangled with tests and comments and stuff like that in here. Night, M. Walk around and find out indeed. Pretty much. So let's see. What have we got? Where are we at? So this is nothing yet. Ditch this. Also ditch this for now. It already is. Creative Commons 0 as well. Sure. Enjoy. So road stuff and segment stuff can probably live together, huh? Because roads are really just like a superset of segments or of segment creation. I gotta believe that there's games like that out there, drag racing games. I'd be surprised if there weren't, but maybe not. So I think I will combine roads into segments. Maybe. I need to think about this. Because it is kind of like even though this is creating segments, I feel like it would be weird to have them together, to be honest. It is sort of its own specific task. I see. Sort of like a what's that one totally something battle simulator or whatever. Kind of need that for cars in a way where you can set stuff up essentially and you have like all kinds of car models. So rather than like playing, you just set up scenarios and parameters and such, like what the vehicle's parameters. Oh yeah, totally accurate drag racer. That's what you need. Uh, the util thing could be possibly replaced. Overlap is unused because I'm not using any of the collision from the original guide. I don't think I necessarily ever will, so I could just get rid of that right now and nothing will break. Excuse me. So some of these I'm not sure have a one-to-one mapping. And then others of these I'm not sure of the advantage. I don't think timestamp is being used at all. Aha, what did I break? Ah. Did I not get rid of the whole line? I didn't. Some of these I'm not sure that they really map to something where Phaser steps in and saves the day exactly. Yeah, Phaser's handling that. Like accelerate's pretty specific. Interpolate might be pretty directly replaceable. Really? Don't they? I could have sworn they had a math section. Utils. No. Elusive, thank you for 107 months. Good God. That's so many months. They do have a math section. What the heck? Distance? Only distance. Neat. Uh, so what do I have to do? Like phaser.math dot and then oh, and it has a built-in for wrapping. Interesting. X add float between. Interesting. Bezier, Camel, cubic Bezier. What are we doing here? A plus B minus A times percent. It's probably just a lerp, huh? I'm trying to make a pseudo 3D racing game as a stream theme, Elusive. All right. Let's see if we can just plug this in, you know? Let's see what happens. Seems fine. Leave that one alone. Okay. So this is random int. This seems like kind of crazy. So random int, it takes a min max. So it's really random int range. And then it's also doing an interpolate, and it's using the random result from JavaScript random as a percentage. I'm sure there's good reasons for that. Meanwhile, I wonder what would happen. It does. Apparently it does. Ha. Okay, here we go. I mean, we're using this very haphazardly, apparently. And only in sprites. Oh, I copied that whole thing. I did that here too. Okay. And here. There. Still working, still functioning. And we're getting our random roadside sprites, no problem. So in terms of utils here, I feel like goodbye. And then that also frees us up to ditch. Oh, no, wait. Random choice is using random int, which is using Interpolate. Random choice. Options. Okay, so that's just doing a are we even using that? It's picking a random thing from an array. There we are. I mean, this would be easy to replace. This is the only place it's used. Ah. Ah ha ha. Wow. Nice. It's even got an array shuffle. Sick. Okay, so this is part of this plugin and not phaser. Same. But these are includes in phaser. This is just a better, I like the examples better in this documentation. Okay, so we'll have to replicate the like random choice thing. I think this is ints and this is floats essentially. Oh, did it? Oh yeah, it sure does. I was looking only at the code examples and was not looking at these huge obvious pieces of text right in front of my face. I mean, it seems like this is if you use this, all of this is seeded. So can't I just do, so this is doing, it's not including 0. I'm like trying to figure out if I can just lazy my way past this. I guess I could try it and just see if everything dies. I mean, this is, yeah, this is just bouncing the wheels and the body of the car anyway, so it's kind of a, who cares? It's fine. It looks fine. Okay. So now these can go. Yes. Random choice, random int. Thank you for your service. Interpolate. Adios. Now I know phaser provides easing. Exponential fog is something that'll have to be like either this one makes sense to have or there's something that does essentially this. I don't think it's normally dedicated only to fog. Pretty sure there's going to be a limit function. And then we have 2 int and 2 float, which is like with these there's some real shit going on. Let me undo some of this like too fancy formatting. So it's more like understandable by my garbage brain. I could just like highlight it and do prettier or something, right? What the fuck is it? Is it Alt P? Oh no. Or no. Shit. Ah, Control Shift P. Boop. Control Shift P. Format, not document. Can I format selection? Yeah. It was Control K, Control F. Anyway, it's fine. So 2 ints, object, def. Yes, definition. If object not null, couldn't you just do if object? There's some real wizard shit going on here that I'm not totally clear on. Oh, these are huh. Okay. Trouble with this is I don't understand why this is done and why you wouldn't just do parse float, parse int, call it a day. I guess this has like some catches in case you try to do this, so you try to send some weird shit. Let's look into some other stuff here. These might not, I don't know how often these are used. Not very. Actually, once and only once. And it's in add road. I'll just revisit that at some point. What about 2 float? Unused anywhere. It's not used anywhere. Adios. Let me go. Love to murder code. Let's look into limit. No. Okay, we're using here. Ah, and only here. So I feel like that'd be clamp. Value min max. And value min max, yeah. Sick. So yeah. Phaser.math.clamp. Ta-da. Feels great. I'm the code murderer. Okay, so A plus B minus A times math.pow percent dose. Oh, it does. Thank you. All right. We probably just want like sign. A custom function. What? Oh, I see. It's like if you want to write your own. It doesn't appear that. Well, this doesn't have any usage examples, basically. So how do I make use of these? Kind of seems like it's only a linear V. Okay, all right. Oh. So these are the only methods. Yeah, that's the page I'm on. Okay, here we go. Okay, so they have their own methods in out and out. And then value. So looking at like how this is implemented. AB percent AB percent. AB percent. The phaser methods only take a value. Is it just percent? Let me see how these are used. I'm pretty sure they're used for doing the hills and curves. Yeah. Pardon. Pardonnez-moi. Just dot ease. Right. So it's entirely here in the road. And all right here. So curve. Right, we're easing a curve here. Okay, so we're easing into the curve, maintaining the curve, easing out of the curve. And then this is our percents here. We're easing in and out, oddly enough. Doesn't look like we use ease out at all. Goodbye. Goodbye. Adieu. They are all, like the one I just got rid of is doing, the difference being like 1 minus. So it's just doing the opposite of ease in. And then ease in out is doing a, like they all start the same. This one's doing a negative on this cosine of percent times math dot pi. Ooh, I'm just trying to figure out how to map these to phasers methods that just take a single value. What are you doing in here? Oh yeah, geez. It's its whole own fucking module. Wild. Just for, I mean, I guess organizing these things is a monster, right? So sine is like a category, and then its methods are below it. And sine's category easing, and easing's category math, and I guess, yeah. It just returns a value to multiply by. So we're gonna still need like a wrapper function either way, right? And it's doing, for the ease in, it's doing 1 minus math dot cosine b times math dot pi divided by 2, which sounds very familiar. Except for this is doing something. It's really doing something similar, but not the same. And that's in and out. Ease in is not, it's just doing a power of the percent to the second power, I guess. What's this? Is this a magic number like Euler's constant or something like that? Or whatever that fucker's called? Or is this exponential? Given the, context. Let me look at how we're using this again. Right, so we're sending in the values that we want to ease between. Huh. It's just E the constant. Gotcha. So if we compare this to our ease in out, it's the percent, even though it's ease in phasor. So what would happen is we would do this with our values. This would happen outside or around our method. So this is the bit that's being replaced by the phasor inbuilt. Probably the same in all cases here. Just times and then the thing with the percent passed in. Which means replacing these is a little less straightforward. Let me look at some of this, the rest of this. I don't imagine that phasor's going to have like a replacement for that, right? Work out what percentage value is of the range between min and max. Huh. Not what we're looking for, though. E to the power of distance to the power of 3. Or 1 over. Gotcha. This shit's cool. Oh, we can get speed. But yeah, it doesn't have like acceleration stuff or anything. But like, why would it? Yeah, the fog function. Yeah, this business here. 1 over, and then what you said, yeah. This is definitely not something phasor provides. Yeah, density.
So it's basically it's exponential fall off to create the gradient effect. What would happen if? What would happen if? Let's see this. I guess if this is wrong, it'll just fuck up the roads. Fuck up those roads real good. They might be different because you know we're using a totally different easing formula, possibly. It seems fine. What's interesting with this is we could swap in different kinds of easing for the roads for different effects, which is kind of neat. It does not seem to have been bothered by this. Therefore, therefore, I don't think it. I don't think that's true, Sage, because I'm not gonna like write out the easing values by hand at any point. Um, so even if I'm using bespoke pieces, uh, that math still has to happen to do the like nice curves and stuff. Like if anything, this is very not random generation because already like these pieces that I'm putting together are already bespoke. They're just not they're not bigger chunks. Like they could be bigger pieces defined and put together, but it still has to be calculated. Yeah, I'm not seeing any ill effects. So I mean, like we can certainly use any of the easing functions here. I'm very curious about fucking with them. Uh, where was that fucker? Probably in here. Yeah. So linear doesn't have any in or out, right? It's just straight up. So you would just use linear, and it probably has a method to take in the value, right? Where are you? Yeah, right there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so linear and stepped. This could be interesting. But then we could do, you know, the bounce would be a weird one, right? Bounce would be a really strange one for the roads. I'm too curious now. I'm just too curious. Uh, I have to know what will happen if I do this. This can't be good. Ugh. Ah. Oh, hills are screwed up. Look how bumpy the hills are. Curves are curves seem to be unbothered. Weirdly. I guess it's just the nature of the curves. The hills are all whacked out though. Holy shit. They're messed up. They're like sharp. The hills are pointy. The hills have knives. Kind of cool effects though in terms of I'm seeing a lot of stuff here I've not seen before because none of the things that were that we had pre-made for doing hills did anything like this. It's just total chaos. It's pretty interesting. It honestly copes well with it apart from, making the car like bounce like a total freak and also just generally not looking good. But otherwise, like it's kind of cool how the terrain and all the sprites and everything still work fine in this bizarre scenario. Very interesting. Very interesting. Expo. What you do? What do you do? Yeah, jumps might be. Oh, this makes little plateaus. Oh, that's cool. Oh man, this could be a useful tool to just have some like flexibility. Like on a per hills basis, specify the type of easing. Just have that be a possible parameter. Default to something sane or really something sine. Ha ha ha. But maybe if I want to create like a kind of plateau effect, it's just an easy modifier. We have camera problems with our downhills. We would really need to have that like detect when we're going into a downhill and then sort of lean the camera up more to kind of compensate so that the drawing doesn't reveal like go inside the world and also the car doesn't look like it's flying suddenly. I really love this like uphill curve right there though. The very steep uphill is very cool. I really want big downhills. Big uphills and downhills are always impressive in pseudo 3D racers. I want to get to that point where we can have that. Yeah, this is cool. The curves don't seem to be affected. The only parts that would be affected are like easing in from a straight and easing out to a straight. So I think that it's just sort of too subtle or too short to be noticed. I mean, we're definitely using the utility, and I definitely replaced the easing strategy. So the fact that it's not having a huge visible effect must just be that it's not easily affected. What are some of the other ones that we had available? Back? What's back do? Oh, overshoot, huh? The overshoot amount. I don't know. Curious. It's optional, so I can still test it out without really changing anything else. Maori, thank you for that gift sub. Very much appreciated. Back has sort of a plateauing effect as well, but with more bumps. Curves still don't give a shit. And that's fine. Oh. Ooh, cool. There's an interesting effect where the hills have a dip before them with this easing and after. It's almost like a kind of a bell curve effect, which is neat. Yeah, look at that. I love the way that that looks, you know. It gives the road a little bit of a little extra something. I don't know if it's realism, but it's just like a little extra flair. Look at this hill. I love this hill. Way it twists like a ribbon. That's so sick. But yeah, this effect is not great for small hills. It's a bit much. Circular. Oh no. That can't have good effects. Right? That's got to be bad. This hill looks weird. And it's plateauing again, but they seem flatter, shorter. Curves still don't seem to have cared at all. Yeah, so these are, look at, it's like straight up and down on the sides of the hills almost. Oh my gosh, they look like ramps. It's so abrupt. It's like SimCity 2000 up in here. Womp. Just driving off cliffs and shit. Yeah. And kablam. That's neat. It just puts walls everywhere. Pow. Interesting. Cubic. I'm just trying them all at this point. So again, it's plateau-like, but smoother. It's kind of the same thing, but a bit more chill. But what about big hills? What happened then? So to be honest, this might be just very similar to Sign. Yeah, this one doesn't seem particularly interesting. It's just real smooth. Curves seem like maybe they're more lengthy, like they're more exaggerated. Those big boy turns kind of look like they're really reaching off a lot further or something. That could just be an illusion. I don't know. Elastic. I simply do not know what that would do in this situation. Seems like it would be ridiculous. Uh-oh. That uh-oh. That doesn't look right. Oh boy, it's a big speed bump. Ooh! Oh god. Oh my oh, even curves are affected now. Not like visually, but the car has detected that something is not right. Oh no. Turn away. Oh god. Uh, uh. Yeah. Oh, this hill. Oh my god. Uh. Jesus Lord. Oh, this is hell. Oh, this is hell. Oh god. That's just supposed to be one hill, so it's like ripples. Divine Wind, thank you for the bits. Yeah, this acts like ripples as it goes to the center of the hill, right? The big ones are like really extreme. Crazy. Well, I don't like it. That's it's not good. It's not good. You do quadratic. How about that? It does break the math. It breaks the projection math, that one. It puts holes in the road and stuff. I noticed that it was doing weird rendering when it was exceeding the horizon. I didn't know that it could escape the horizon and have such issues. I think the rest of these are going to be pretty chill, to be honest. I don't think any of the rest of them are going to have big fun effects. So I can probably just put it back to sign and call it a day. And I might just move these functions over into road, I guess, since that's the only place where they're used. So I'm going to sign it up. And then you're coming with me. It's going to break. But I'll slap these in here for now. What? Well, my math is ass. The only way that I know that they would be similar to sine is that I've seen most of these easing functions before. And a lot of them stop being interesting because they all are just sort of like smoother in a way that's like virtually undetectable. So it's more of like edge case handling scenarios. If you need some like really super duper smoothing, I guess. I mean, we've chopped this down quite significantly now, which is nice. Eventually, something like that, yeah, Divine. That would be a bit of a later item as far as features go, but it's definitely something that we've talked about, and I want to do because I think it would be cool. And contributor, like, I almost want to have like a billboard, a built-in billboard library, essentially, like supporters or something. I don't know. It's in the brain, but it's not high on the priority list at the moment. Ah. Uh-huh. I see. This is pretty specific and doesn't feel like it ought to live because this is not going to be used anywhere else. So get on out here. Get on to the stage. Accelerate. It's your time to shine. Yes, sir. Yeah. Na, 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 da, da, da. And that. Ta-da. Nice. Well, util is almost dead. Um, I know where project is used. That's also only in one spot, and it's in render. And render new. So again, this would make more sense to just live there and not here. So rip that out of here, and now nothing will work, but that's okay. Da, da, da. Render all. Let's pop it up here, I guess. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. Ta-da. Another one done. Tony, thank you for 87 months. Very much appreciated. All right, where else are we using these? Percent remaining almost sounds like a genuine utility, except for, again, it's only used in render. So might as well, and exponential fog as well, because they're both, I know they're only both used in render. Sorry, excuse me, pardon me. Okay. Bingo bango. This as well. And we'll do that. Get it chopped down to size. I'm going to stop maintaining 2 of these. That was like a temporary experiment that wasn't going to go anywhere. Adios, amigo. I missed a percent remaining, I guess. Okay, increase with looping. Start increment max, and we're using it only here. Oh, that's pretty specific. Hmm. Well, these two are the hardest ones to get rid of. What's with regards to this 2 int? What's bugging me with this one is I'm worried that there's some like magic here, that there's some purpose to doing this way that I don't follow, as opposed to it's being used only in road, only right here for end y. So end y is the starting y plus the y that's passed in, which I feel like we can control pretty well. Uh, I mean, let's see, add road. So this would be like height, I think. It's for doing hills. Yeah. Yeah. So this is for hill amounts. I don't think there is. I mean, I didn't put them in. That the utils file, all of these functions I've been getting rid of are all those were just dropped in from the guide because I just wanted to get the prototype up and running. I think it might be, yeah. So I'm going to try this. And we'll just see if we still have hills, I guess. Haha. Huh. It's not throwing an error, but it ain't working anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna have to unravel what is actually happening here. Add road. Let me look at like where we're calling add road. Num 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 num. 0 height. So no curve, hill height. These are always gonna be ints. Oh, I know why that didn't work. And it's stupid. Men only want one thing, and it's stupid. What's that? Yeah, right here. So this, it's probably coming in as a string because JavaScript is really cool, you know. I'll bet. I'll bet. I'll bet. I'll bet. I'll bet. There you go. Thank you, Sage. And thank you, Massa. Massamoon. Is it Massamune or Massamoon? It's probably Massamune. What a name, by the way. If it's Masamune, then your name is Masamune Muramasa. Cool name, but it is a mouthful. Okay, so that's not the issue. Is this really a 2int function? What is this doing? I mean, like, I know we're passing in either 0, 20, 40, or 60. So what are you doing? And the way we're calling it is we're going to be passing in one of those numbers and then 0 for def. So if we're passing in a number, it's not null. Then we use parse int a value between 2 and 36 specifies the base of the number in string. Yeah, so I mean, by default, it would have been considered decimal anyway. If not is not a number, then we're good. Otherwise, we, I guess, do 0, 0 on this same thing and then we're done. But why? But why? But why? But why? But why? There's like simultaneously the unraveling of this and then some goofy JavaScript shit happening. Well, yeah, it calls itself as a stopgap. Like, if it gets a weird number, it fails to parse it correctly, then we just knock it down to 0 is basically what this is doing. And then we're done. So it's just sort of weird error handling. But I don't understand why, like, just ripping it out and then we send in the perfectly fine int isn't working. What I can do, since this is all like pre-gen and it's not part of the update loop, I can safely do some console logarinos. And I'm just going to spit out the y's here and see what the heck they are. Oh. Okay, well, sometimes we're getting an undefined. So that seems like not right. Let's, all right, hold on. Why is that the case? Right? What is happening? Why is this the case? I don't know, but that shouldn't be undefined. Yeah. Yeah. Ah. Okay. I mean, I don't know why. A lot of this stuff is still just the way it was copied over example stuff. I feel like this should really solve our problem. Okay, so no more undefines. Therefore, now this should be fine. There we go. Cool. So I guess this was just so that you could have functions that don't have defaults, and I don't know. It's not the way to do it anymore anyway. I simply don't know. Like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from in terms of wanting to have functions where you can just specify the things that you want to specify and not bother with the rest. Essentially optional, but for some reason optional without defaults, and I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would do that. They definitely in the article make it clear that the whole approach in the whole thing is just sort of slapdash. So maybe that's part of it being slapdash. Okay, and increase was where it's in the player update loop, right? So I mean, I can just rip this, and then we're done here, right? I think. I mean, it's tad ugly having just ripped everything out. Um, and slapped it wherever, but it's fine for now. We've replaced things, we've reorganized things where they're near to where they're used. It makes enough sense. And then we can get rid of all these. They ain't doing nothing no more. Oh, and I actually need to update the call to increase. Of course. Right. Let's not increase. Ta-da! It's done. Absolutely murdered util. It is so dead. Just great. So that's done. It seems like a good time for a checkpoint as well. Controls, probably. I never really got any insights or tips about my whole class approach thing, which makes me a little worried about like too much reorg because I don't want to reorg into a bunch of like bad bad paradigms. But like I got like a bad roll of the dice, and every single person who's interested in this at all with me is like anti classes and object oriented. So I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of tips other than, hey, stop using object oriented paradigms or patterns. Uh-oh. I may have said wrong words. I also don't intend to start a war. So yeah, I know, I know. Oh. Oh. if if there's a genuine thing that I know that would probably be the thing is that it feels kind of bloated when you really adhere to it because it's just sort of like
a lot of files, a lot of a lot of sort of syntax cruft. Yeah, I think it maps well to games because of the whole logical structure of like game objects and yeah. Yeah. I was just joking around really because there's definitely been a lot of comments along the way. And also I'm just being like awkward or anxious about my the way I've slapped some of this together and my particular weird way of potentially weird way of using classes. I don't know that I'm really doing it right. I do a lot of things that feel wrong or feel like I'm not really using the potential available correctly because I'm not all that knowledgeable about how it could be done. Uh, I mean, technically, a really long time. Professionally, in fits and starts across a really long time. And in any one particular language, I am far from an expert. I have a weird path through the world of programming. I'm currently a web developer. So I write web developer level code and front end at that. So not deep. In the past, I've done Scala, Python, Prolog. Uh, Nothing else with really very much, like not for any extended periods of time. Those are the only ones where I've really done a significant amount or spent a significant amount of time with. I'm fairly syntax agnostic. I'm not really too bothered about syntax differences between languages or anything like that. But I am ignorant of patterns that are beyond like in the JavaScript world, I'm very used to just writing functions and that's sort of the extent of it. Just slapping functions together until the thing does what I need it to do. And like really like elegant patterns of code organization, I just don't really have much experience with. And classes aren't necessarily that elegant anyway, but it's more elegant than what I typically do. I've noticed that we have kind of a weird. I don't know if that's my stream PC maybe needing a restart or something. I have a weird sort of chug on every lap right now, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if I introduced that with my during my elimination of util, perhaps. That'll be fun to figure out. Slander. All right. How should I next be productive?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, front end has got a lot going on, um, but a lot of it doesn't have a lot going on as well. If that makes any sense. There's still a lot of surface level, rather mundane work in front end in the web dev world. Oh, cool. Yeah. So you're in the same place as me then. I that's exactly how I feel. I'm just sort of second guess it. Like I kind of am doing I think I'm doing mostly the correct stuff. I'm still scared of trying to extend classes, so I don't really do that. Um, yeah, they're pretty weird. Well, my main game module is a little messy at the moment because there's a lot of junk happening in here still. These are debug. I don't think they're used anywhere else, but I put them here because this is where the settings live. Yeah, so they're only called by debug in here. Like if we change any of the settings related to those settings that need to be recalced. Settings organization probably is something that would be good to do. There's a huge pile of shit in here, and one of the problems is many of those settings are reused here. They're used here and in the renderer. This is like all of our I'm not even sure. It's like player settings related frame updates that have to happen, like position and coordinates and speed. And then these are then reused in the renderer, I think. Maybe they never are. No, they are. So we are grabbing these from the main scene, all of these. Here's that lag. What's that about? Why is that happening? I didn't check to see if that was also happening in OBS. Technically, these are all instances in memory, so they would have potentially different behaviors. So there's considerations to that because like for instance, the most logical thing would probably be like a JSON file for config, but Chromium doesn't like you doing that. It doesn't like using JSON as imports. It considers it a security violation, and it requires setting a special flag. Firefox simply won't do it, and I haven't dug into what you have to do to get around it. And I don't think Safari gives a shit. Not that it matters, because my use case is very specific here, and I've already got OBS set up that way. So I could just go ahead and do it. I just was sort of avoiding it, I guess, because to me it feels like a limitation that I don't know. But yeah, it's considered a security issue, so which sucks because it is kind of nice to just be able to import a JSON file. Boom, there you go. I suppose I could do that though. apart from our calculated ones. So we'd have to have like a function that creates the calculated settings. Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, it could just be another JavaScript module. The annoying thing is, I think I got to think about this because a lot of these, or some of these, not all, some of these get changed or recalculated as we go, right? So it's like, how much does it save us, essentially? Are we still going to have to do these sort of ugly cross-scene references to everything? Or could I just import the settings? I suppose I could split everything up, right? I could split everything up into like static settings and dynamic settings, I guess, to sort of reduce the number of things that have to be like referenced across scenes and classes. Or I could make a settings class that gets passed around. I mean, that would segregate all the settings away, but it would make the calls to get the settings really ugly, right? Like that would go from, I mean, it would be as ugly as this essentially. For every setting, you know, you have to have this huge giant chain. And I still already do have to have somewhat of a chain. So these would become like this dot scene dot settings dot width, etc. I could probably do something to like kind of, I could set a shorter variable. But the fact that you have to have a shorter name, or you know, you have to have a name before the variable in some fashion. I could just make it something super short. I don't know. Hell yeah, Cone. I knew you would like this. I hope to make it extremely rad. It's gonna take a while, but thank you, man. Hope everything's good with the fam. Mm-mm-mm. Have you guys seen any slowdown at all? I'm not really looking at the OBS preview. Have you seen any slowdown happen in the little preview here? Like down here? Oh no, I'm sorry, man. If what I'm seeing was happening, it's pretty big and obvious. So I'd say it must be my browser needs a restart here. Let me do that real quick. I need to get rid of that update notice anyway. P.S. I have this pet peeve when people are presenting on meetings. There's some people that regularly present and their Chrome just constantly has the update notice. Like they just never ever update their browser. I'm just like, please update your browser, please. You're giving me anxiety. Pack, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Ponderers. I mean, I don't. The pet peeve is seeing it on somebody's presentation over and over. Yeah. So browser source in OBS is Chromium based. I do believe. Yes. Browser source. Chromium embedded framework. Really? It runs nicely in like every browser for me. Let alone just Chrome. What platform? Linux, Windows, 0.2 frames a second? Weird. Oh, Windows. When you run it in the dev tools in the console, I'd be interested to know because like for me it says there's a little phaser line when it loads the game. So it says Sad Racer phaser version 3.55.2 WebGL web audio. That's the critical thing is WebGL. I would guess that if WebGL failed to work in your Chromium and it was doing Canvas 2D, this would probably perform poorly. I would think. I'm using some stuff I'm pretty sure requires WebGL. I know how you feel, man. I know exactly how you feel. All right. I dig this cryptic message, and I will wait for future cryptic missives. That's just my guess is that it would be Canvas 2D because that would not be very performant. And we're doing the heaviest thing going is the probably the all the graphics drawing that's happening to generate the terrain. I mean, it is a single game object, but we are just drawing quite a lot of rectangles and then clearing them every single frame. And I can't imagine that that would perform very well on regular canvas, but I don't know, maybe it's fine. I mean, technically, that's what the original one was doing, and that is definitely not using WebGL, and it runs fine for me, so I don't know. Maybe it's something else I'm using. Oh yeah, it does say Canvas 2D. Wild. I wonder why. I think WebGL just comes with Chrome. I don't think you have to like install an extension or anything. Or maybe you have an extension disabling it for like security, possibly. My Firefox doesn't want to ever do shit because I've got I've got like the full suite of fuck you extensions, like automatic containers for all of Google's shit, all of Facebook's shit. Any kind of pixel gets fucking smoked. Um, I think what are the other ones? I've got like Privacy Possum and Privacy Badger and just all kinds of fucking all the big guns. You ran it again, didn't change anything, and it works fine. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either then. That's weird. Huh. Interesting, cryptic. Oh, and it's gone. This message is set to self-destruct. A very okay. All right. There's some Mission Impossible stuff happening. Don't worry about it. Okay. I need to make a decision on the settings thing and what I'm going to do there. I have done a little bit of organization of some stuff that's specific, and I could probably continue that to just get stuff out of here first. Stuff that's only used in certain modules. Okay, now it's set to not quite self-destruct. I'm so curious about this, but I'll leave it alone. I'll tuck that away I'm back on the boilerplate and wait and see. Put it off and do something else. Yeah. The resolution independence thing is not implemented. For one thing. Why this is not search. I'm okay. Everything's fine. So we're calling that in. It's null because it's supposed to be computed. It is supposed to be used for it in the bounce calculation. We're not using it because it was not implemented. And that is it. This feels like it could be just eliminated, but so the way it's used in this is, let me just open up the final version. So it is a it's a resolution control. Not sure what all it affects, but it certainly, it does not have nice effects. It does not look good. Like if I were gonna do this, I would want like 1-to-1 pixel ratio stuff going on. And you can see when you tick over, so for some reason the other cars are like fine, but the one that he used for the player sprite was not scaled up. So it always looks blurry no matter what you do. 640 by 480 is what the sprites in Outrun were actually originally for, I think. Or it might be twice. That might be twice that, but I think the sprites used here were scaled up possibly. But then every other resolution just like, it's not really an improvement. It looks blurrier. But then the graphics are drawn more crisp because they're not sprite based. So like this is just a weird thing. Because they are only using one sprite and literally, let me see here. Let me go to the final article. This is fun here. Where is it? Yeah. Conclusion, blah, blah, blah. Here's things I didn't implement and you might want to. Car sound effects, better synchronized music, full screen mode, HUD effects, more accurate sprite collision, better car AI, an actual crash when colliding, more bounce when cars off-road, screen shake when off-road or collision, throw up dirt particles when off-road, more dynamic camera, lower at faster speed, swoop over hills, etc. Automatic resolution and draw distance detection, more realistic projection-based curves with XY rotation, fix the subpixel anti-aliasing artifacts on curves, smarter fog to cover sprites, multiple stages, different maps, a lap map with current position indicator, road splits and joins, day-night cycle, weather effects, tunnels, bridges, clouds, walls, buildings, city, desert, ocean. Add city of Seattle and Space Needle to background layers. Bad guys, add some competitor drivers to race against. This guy invented Slipstream. Actually, these games like that with that type of gameplay pre-existed all of this. Game modes, fastest lap, 101 racing, collect coins, shoot bad guys. a whole lot of gameplay tuning, etc., etc. Ellipsis. So it's just like, here's all the things that we didn't do here. Well, the sprites are rips. They're literally dumped from Outrun. These sprites are stolen. This developer is in Seattle. I don't know if it's well, not in Seattle, in Redmond, or was 12 years ago, or whenever this was written originally. But it could also just be a reference, because I think a lot of pseudo racing games had featured the Space Needle. It was just a common landmark that was, use those big city landmarks like the arches, or the St. Louis Arch, or the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge is common, etc., etc., and so forth and so on and thereabouts. Just secrets. I wish this guide would have had a lot of these things on this list, because no other guide exists that does have any of this stuff. But I mean, at that point, it's like, are you even really making your own thing? So any of those sorts of features, I have to figure out. I just got to figure it out. Ads do be stupid. Okay, so back to making shit actually happen. So I suppose I could abandon the resolution thing. I don't know that it really has a use for my specific use case anyway. The only thing I would really be interested in is like a pixel effect. There's actually one of the phaser projects that I shared. Is it this one? No, this is this one. Who or what was it? It was, oh, I remember. Also, we don't need Python anymore here. What is this? The wrapping, right? So we might be able to do this with phaser. Sorry, excuse me, pardon me. It's doing some cleanup. This is the original, very cool article. This site came back up, so I don't know what happened, because it was down for a while and I had to go to archive.org, but now it's actually up, which is cool. Thank you, Lou. This is an awesome page for just sort of the history of this stuff. It's very interesting, and also talks about cool games, and talks about the other guide, where at. So this is like This is what ours is. It's true 3D projected segments. And so the polygon approach, and then the reference, yeah, here. Jake over at Code Incomplete has a great solution for this. This being, let's say the road is a sharp curve. You might have noticed that as you go around the polygonal curve, it jitters as you cross the segment boundary and the road is subsequently reset. One obvious thing that is happening to cause this is that as you traverse a skewed segment, the camera's center relative to the road changes. That is, by the time you get to the end of that segment, the road is no longer centered. It's as if you're driving on the road at an angle. You might be tempted to fix it by moving the road to center it, just as objects' X positions are linearly interpolated. However, this is wrong and does not completely solve our problem. If the road were skewed in a straight line, this would be fine. The problem is that our road curves, so the polygons in the distance are still not lined up. Another way to think about it is this. We are approximating a curve using polygonal segments. We want the shape of the curve to be more or less constant, even as it scrolls. Jake over at Code Incomplete has a great solution for this. Instead of changing the X position as the road, as you move across the segment, I think of the road as you move across the segment. What about changing the initial DX value from 0 to something that keeps the road in line as you move through the segment? And that's where this comes from. And it's also what we're using. So we just don't have that problem. But yeah, also there's just like a cool list of games with different styles of similar effects. Also, this is a cool one. The way that Sega was doing it for these was that they had a special chip that rendered out a very high resolution just picture of the road. Although there are many ways to render roads, it is interesting to note that many arcade games used hardware designed for this specific purpose. I love stuff like this. These chips automate the basics of road drawing, but not the road calculations themselves. As a typical example, we'll take Sega's Outrun road chip used in games such as Super Hang-On, Outrun, and Space Harrier. First off, the chip has its own graphics memory. What is stored in this road ROM is nearly a perspective view of the road, given that it is flat-centered and not curving. Then for each line of the screen, so this is like they were blitting, like we're not doing that. We're drawing polygonal rectangles. The programmer specifies roughly which line of the perspective graphic to draw there. Each line also has an X offset for curving the road, and each line can also have a different color palette to draw road markings and simulate movement. To show an example, here are some images taken from Sega racing game road graphics side by side with the road as seen in game. Special thanks to Charles McDonald for his road viewing application. So that shit's fucking wild. I'm still so fascinated by how they used to achieve these things, because it's so fucking bonkers. The further back you go, the harder this shit is to do. And they had to come up with insane solutions to make this shit happen. So they have a chip that all it does is make these high resolution images. And then they sample the lines, and it's similar to what we're doing, the segment based approach, but like line by line. Yeah. Like this shit was super close to the metal. I don't know. Would this have still been assembly level? I'm not sure. I think for applications like this, it would have been assembly much further on than like application development, right? Because they had very specific hardware restrictions and costs and things like that. So they had to be powerful, fast, and tiny. Like a dwarf. Does it? Did it? You mean here? Wait, what are you talking about? Where are we at? You broke me. I was gonna look up something, wasn't I? And now I don't. Now, oh, I was gonna look up the other. I'm gonna do that before I forget again. Because I was talking about the this. I'll show you that in a second. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So the first thing you might notice is that the road graphics are much higher resolution than the in-game graphics. In these particular games, the road is up to 512 by 256 resolution, while the game's display resolution is only 320 by 224. Okay, I was right about 640 by 4 or whatever being like about double for Outrun. This gives the graphics engine plenty of graphic to play with, which cuts down on the amount of jaggies. Another thing which might pop out to you is that the perspective of the road stored in the ROM is completely different from the perspective shown in the game. This is because the graphic in the ROM merely stores what the road might look like for various road widths. It is the job of the program to select the correct lines out of this large graphic for each line of the screen. Holy shit to that, you know? Holy shit. The hardware supports 2 roads at a time. So that's how they're getting like the cross-hatching probably here. So you can assign priority to the left or right road. This is for the parts of the game in which the road branches or where there's a center divider between lanes of traffic. So, yeah, that shit is super fucking cool. And then the rest of these are like tours through implementations through history. And this is pretty wild because this one came out in 1983 on presumably Atari. It looks like an Atari game. And all they do, they're just doing the outer lines. No, no sprites or obstacles. And it doesn't move in perspective. It's the most bare bones. Oh yeah, okay. So Atari 2600, yeah. What's notable about the Atari's video hardware is that it's essentially one-dimensional. The software must update the graphics for each scan line itself. So for example, to show a sprite, the programmer has to upload a new line of graphics to display at the beginning of each scan line. To draw the ball object, the programmer would turn on the ball when the TV's beam got to the right line and turn off the ball when the beam got to a line where the ball should no longer be visible. Good God. The fact that we got any video games at all is baffling sometimes. Oh my goodness. Okay, we could draw the road using the background blocks, but the resolution is much too low to be effective. What Atari driving games did instead was use the 2 missile or ball graphic objects to draw the left and right sides of the road, much in the same way they can be used to draw lines. So they're using the only available shit that was intended for very different purposes to do like the rumble and the lanes and whew. Enduro in particular uses the first player's missile sprite and ball sprite in order to draw the left and right sides. Pole position, on the other hand, uses both missile sprites for the sides of the road and then uses the ball sprite to draw the dotted line down the center. Bonkers. Absolutely fucking insane. I'm not gonna read all this shit, but just like this is why these are so interesting to me. They're so cool. This is where I learned about power drift. Racing Force is really fucking cool and looks insane. And Racing Force, so check this out. And this is kind of related to our like terrain texture problem. Racing Force was reverse engineered by the intrepid Charles McDonald. It runs on a Konami GX, and it has a daughter board with voxel engine capability. Blah, blah, blah. It's based on older hardware that could only draw an SNES Mode 7-like floor map. It was extended to do a height map using this clever technique. It projects not just the tile map onto a flat 3D plane, but also the height information for each pixel into its own 3D plane. Then for each pixel on the screen, it looks up the height information of the projected height map and extrudes each pixel upwards as necessary. Holy shit. And it's also just like a really nice looking pseudo 3D racer. I almost wrote farce. I still didn't spell force right. It's not frost. There's like no good videos of it, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's like there's no ROM for emulators or whatever, or just nobody else has ever recorded this game. But like the car sprites look really good. They have a lot of positions, and the track detail is insane in terms of like it has like banking curves. This is just an arcade. This is an arcade game. I don't think this ever came out on like any home system. Yeah, the car sprites look absolutely fantastic. Like, unfortunately, the encoding here is shit because this video is from 10 years ago, and there's no other. This apparently was a rare arcade game, so I kind of feel there must not even be a ROM, because otherwise we'd have good, clear video of this game and screenshots. There's another game that is, I think, of similar quality. Was it Konami? Racing, nope. Just do racing right there. It was Konami. I don't know why I didn't see it. Yeah, like even these screenshots aren't very good, but just really high quality graphics. It exists in MAME? Huh. Okay. Well, then I don't know why all the video that exists of it and screenshots are shit, but hey. I mean, on this site, this is archival for like the genuine arcade machines, so that's probably why these are literal screenshots. But yeah, I want to play this. It looks fantastic, and I'm really impressed with the fact that I'm pretty sure this is all extruded pixels, is how they did like all of the 3D looking stuff. So this is still not true 3D. There's another one. I want to show you the one that was like this. Yeah, I love this. This is a great list of. Here's one that's like it's like early Hydro Thunder. Road Rash, of course. Really goofy ones. Test Drive. Oh, it's not here. Oh, where? Sega Pseudo 3D Racers. Shit. What was it? I really want to show it to you guys. Daytona. I would recognize it if I saw it. Slipstream. Damn it, where did I fucking see that shit at? This is gonna kill me now. Virtual Racing. This is it. This is the one. This one's awesome. Is it Slipstream? Yeah, I think it might be like Sega's Slipstream. Yeah. I can just look it up on YouTube now. My God, dude, I can't type. What's up?
May or may not be sick.
Oh. How so?
My head feels fuzzy. And my throat's sore.
Oh no. You think like COVID maybe?
No,
Going out?
I don't have like a runny nose or anything. I think it's just like normal sickness.
You should still test though.
I will tomorrow. I'm not gonna do it right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Babby. Have you taken anything? You want to take like flu medicine?
Whoa.
What's up? What's happening?
Yeah, like a really bad shooting pain in my leg. And I put weight on it.
Not good.
It's pissing me off.
I don't seem to have any like NyQuil flu stuff,
What's
but
the
I know we have
Tylenol? The
the
Tylenol.
Tylenol. Let's sit here.
I have sinus issues. It's all throat. I think I'm just gonna have some tea.
Okay. Hang in there. This game rocks. Like, I just love the look of it. It's really cool. Really nice car sprites and world sprites. There we go. This might be bitrate hell. But this is another pseudo 3D racing game. I love the turning of the car. And this game does yell at you. I would imagine Racing Force, if we had like a high fidelity video of it, looks marginally better than this, but this still looks pretty great to me. I think the sprite work is really great. But the cars just feel very fun. I love the camera angle, and I love the little sprites. So the other one I was going to show you, this is actually another phaser thing based off of the same guide that somebody else did. Sorry. It has a bit of an audio issue. But this is one somebody did a few years ago. This also, the source is available for this as well. Somewhere here. Check the links for GitHub. Ah, here we go. Yeah, so the source is here. So yeah, 3 years ago. So this is on like Phaser. This might have been early Phaser 3 or Phaser 2. And this one, they did a, this is a 3D model. So they use a 3D plugin. I don't remember which one, probably 3JS or whatever, to do the car. And there also seems to be a low resolution effect or pixel effect. They really didn't hone in the turning. The turning is super harsh. You have to like tap because you turn so strongly. No curve can defeat you. You will never be pushed off road. Or maybe it's just the inertial force, the horizontal inertia is not strong enough, I guess, or something. But all the cars are little 3D models, which is a nice little touch. Although I personally prefer the sprite based. Yeah, you can load an object mesh, but that's in Phaser 3. I'm not sure if Phaser 2 had that. So if this was Phaser 3, then they didn't need a plugin. But I feel like I went through the code, and I'm pretty sure they pulled in a plugin for it. I'm also not sure that the pixelated look is actually that great per se. Like I like that style, but the way it's applied here, it kind of takes all the detail out of the out of the game. I do really like the HUD thing. I don't know how that effect is achieved, if it's just a mask and like a rotating thing, or if it's like literally that shape and literally filling it in exactly as it looks, or what. And the map is cool too. I like that it shows the other cars. And yeah, there's an effect happening to the graphics that are being drawn that it's close to pixel size wise, the backgrounds, which I think maybe have the same effect. I'm not sure what all's going on here exactly. I'd have to peruse the source a bit more closely. And there might be good things to glean from that yet. But that's all there is to this. There's also kind of a cool this person wrote their own, I think they wrote their own plugin for loading raw tracker files. So there is music in this, and it is literally just tracker. Like I could make something on the M8 and it could just load the raw tracker file. But I discovered in playing around with this that it has like a feedback problem, or like I think I'm almost like a memory leak, because over time it will start screaming. Like it'll start with like ah, but eventually, and it doesn't take very long, it just becomes all screaming all day. So that's why I have the audio totally off. But altogether, this is actually a pretty cool little implementation. It's just like, I really like the particles here. The smoke looks cool, and the dirt effect looks nice when you go off road. And it's also like implemented intelligently, as opposed to mine, which is just like, are we on a curve? Yes or no? And then it just does stupid shit. Mine needs refinement. Let's look at that source real quick, because I'm curious about their render approach for the road. Oh yeah, there's just like it's all TypeScripty. So this should just be Phaser 3D, GLTF loader, scenes. Would be base scene. Delayed calls. Herbididur. No. Renderer from components renderer. All right. Let's take a look at that. See what they're doing. Wow. Segment point, segment type. Track radar, cool. Track segment. Car manager. Huh. Anyway, renderer. This sure does look familiar. Don't it? Draw polygon. G-save build style. This is, I think this is Phaser 2. Maybe. No, not necessarily, actually. Fill path restore? What's going on with that? Why that, huh? Draw a segment. Yeah. Same guide. Same exact guide. It's all the same. Renderer, draw polygon. Graphics. Oh, so yeah, they're doing their update. I mean, that makes sense, actually. Is this an extension on... No, it's not an extension of a phaser scene. I mean, apart from all the TypeScripty stuff, this is similar to how I've organized my stuff as well. So maybe I should stop feeling so sheepish about it. Render, project. Yeah. They're even doing this stuff. They pass the scene in just like I'm doing. Okay. Project Y compensation, huh? Huh. What'd it mean? This gets rid of, like, we don't need to draw this if it's behind a hill or exceeds our maximum Y. Draw props and cars back to front. Yeah, I have to say, they didn't really change much. they didn't really change things much much more than I did. I mean, obviously, some things they changed like big much, but it's more like auxiliary things, like the adding the soundtrack, the tracker plugin thing, adding a 3D model for the car, which I also made my own car. How are they doing their road? Oh no, they didn't change a thing. Yep. Yeah, I mean, uh-huh. Yeah. Right. Create turn signs. Interesting. So they must have then they loop over it and add they must add sprites to, like, if there's curve. Yeah. Yeah, and then they have a thing for... Yup. So if it's right or left, remove props. Huh. Wonder when you're using that one. Create random props. Is remove props even used? Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, so I see. So it's clearing out any props where it's going to put signs so that there's no overlaps. That makes sense. Ah, a curved line actually makes a lot of sense. That makes more sense. Yeah, that would be easier. I was imagining like a curved rectangle. I'm like, that sounds hard. But a curved line would actually be very very easy and very smooth. And that would be here. Yeah. Graphics. So draw gauge, line style, and then yeah, just an arc, just a phaser built in. Cool. And this one's, yeah, that's right. Cool. That rocks. I like it. Neat. I don't know where... I want to look at their config, their initial config. What? game config game config. Okay. All right. Game settings. Oh, I mean, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Game config. Okay. Pixel art true. Oh, that's how they're doing. Uh-huh, yeah. Uh-huh. That makes sense. They just smashed the resolution down. I mean, I could do that. I don't know that it would have very good effects, but I mean, we could try that right now. What is theirs? You really smashed it down. 320 by 180. Holy crap, dude. The trouble with doing this is not a good way to do it at all, because this is like the maximum resolution anything that you put on screen can be. So like when you try to use fonts, it's going to be total fuck show as far as your font sizes go, because they're going to be relative to balls. Yeah, this doesn't work at all, actually. Because, well, now hold on. Might be able to, if we do it here too, maybe. What was it, 320? 320. I think I have things though that presume upon okay, well, we do have the world's biggest car. And the car, yeah. All right, hold on. I mean, we can't see. We are, yeah, we're looking at just a big car butt. There's a big car butt. I'm surprised that that's not, because I think most of the rest of everything is actually scaled to the resolution that's set. I wish that my debug thing for the car actually worked, because it don't. Oh no. My debug HUD doesn't. Wait, why? I guess, yeah, right, that makes sense, because like the canvas size, right. So basically this is not the way to do it. So that's out. I just want to see, what am I doing here? How can I just kill the car? Because the way I do it does not work. It's not correct. There we go. I see now also why my debug thing didn't work correctly. Boom. There we go. It's a retro game now, everybody. It's kind of cool. But you lose all fidelity, you know? Also, my backgrounds are assuming 1920 by 1080, so they are just too huge to see. Yeah, they do be a bit much. We could do, so that was like, that's Outrun's resolution. What about 640 by 360, I think? Oh, well, this sure has screwed things up in a weird way. Oh, it's because the I didn't change the other in here. Right. That would be why. That's not as bad. I mean, in terms of looking classically pixelated without utterly horrible. Yeah, I would imagine that a shader would be a better approach to this rather than smashing the resolution down this hard. We are getting a little cloud tip. Yeah, I don't know that they haven't been upscaled like by the original guide creator maybe. But even then, I mean, the fidelity is really nice, right? Because I mean, you could do a nearest neighbor upscale, and that could have happened here. But yeah, there's still like a lot of detail and fidelity in the original Outrun sprites, a lot of which would not have come across in the original game because of the resolution. Yeah, yeah. Is that true? Wondering now. I feel like you could read the signs in Outrun, couldn't you? Maybe you couldn't. Outrun original arcade. It is pretty. All right. I mean, like this looks legit. Yeah, it's pretty mangled, but the detail is in there and you can see it in the scaling. So I guess like a lot of the readable stuff you just can't read until it's about to go off the screen, basically. So yeah, I guess because of the scaling, they just baked in a lot of detail so that the sprites, you know, would just look better and better as they got closer to the screen. And it looks like they didn't do a lot of billboards. Okay, never mind. Immediately lied. The driving school one was in there. Those turn signs have some sort of readable stuff on them. I think it says slow down. But you can't. Yeah, that's the driving school with the whale. You can't read that shit at all until it's basically gone off of your screen. So, yeah, that's wild. I didn't even think about that. It's cool. It's too bad it wasn't a full dump of the sprites, right? I'm seeing a lot of other sprites here. I love the color lerping of the sky in the background there. The transition is pretty nice, you know, for the time. Similar cloud approach to what I've done. Oh, interesting. So the way they handle the background transition, this is wild. Okay. So if you look at just examining the transition here, right? You make a choice. So right now we've got beach colored terrain. We have our layers of background sprites and then our just flat color sky. Well, gradient sky. So the sky is going to get lerped. The sprites are going to get swapped out, and the I think the terrain is also going to get lerped because they're not doing a texture They're not doing a textured ground at all. And then it does have the fog, the exponential fog. And you can see what they did there is like it looks like it's just a darker color of the sort of sand color they used for the terrain, right? The transition for the sprites, the background sprites is funny because they just throw out, they just shove the old background sprites away and push in the new ones. I wonder if it's affected by which way you choose to turn. I think they use the turn to sort of mask that. Yeah. So they haven't changed the ground to the background yet, but they're about to. But that, or the far background. There you go. They gradually, so now it's like a pea green terrain and then a cool like pink to blue gradient sky. So they just sort of do it in steps. It's not all super fancy like say Slipstream or whatever. Also these sprites are very funny. Actually, I'm going to back up. I'm going to try to back up a little. I don't know what the limitation was. It was probably memory or whatever. But you may notice that the way that they made their tunnels here is it's just the same columns that they had in other places by themselves. But then they have two columns turned on their sides and smashed to connect across, and that's how they make the sort of tunnel structures. That's how they're doing. Oh, oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know you could go frame by frame. Also, it's hard to tell which direction you're going when you're doing frame by frame. It looks like we're going forward, unless you think we're going backwards. Also, look at that. Look at that frame. It's updating so slowly that the sprites and the car leave the ground for like a frame and a half. Because I guess there's a hill. There's a camera tilt happening. Isn't that wild? Yeah. There's like a downhill going into this tunnel. Oh yeah, I guess the clock would give it away. We're not getting every frame either, maybe. I don't know. There you go. There you can clearly see. It looks like it's actually a different sprite. It's a different kind of column sprite, but it's clearly they're cheating. they didn't make sprites that are actually going across, like, are connected and go across the whole road. Right, yeah. Like you can't see it very well, the weird artifacts that were happening there when it's actually running full speed, but it's funny that that's captured in like the way that the game updates, right? You notice like every other one, the road updates, the sprite updates, the road updates, sprite updates. The background is updating every frame, it seems, or whenever it needs to, but most often with the road. Actually, it might be a separate thing that's affecting the background that's like a scale. So movement versus scale, because it looks like whenever it doesn't happen, it's like it's scaling on the offbeat. Yeah, so this is an uphill going into like a downhill. So they do a camera tilt effect here, right here. It's starting to tilt forward so you can see right there. And something about it, the calculation starts, yeah, it starts freaking out right here until it eventually, I would assume, normalizes when this effect is complete. Jesus, it takes a long time to actually complete it. Holy crap. It's so cool. And then I'm just gonna, yeah, I mean, that happens so fast that you just don't really see it. See, that's a cool downhill, and they did a camera adjustment there as well. Stuff they did is so, it's so insane to me that they were able to do any of this. Oh yeah. I guess it's because of the interlacing. So every other frame, different parts are getting updated. Let's watch this transition again. So the ground in this one started transitioning in the curve. This one has like sprites on the road with special effects when you collide with them. Special particle effects. That's super cool. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, we've gone over a little bit. My friends, I think we're going to get out of here. Should still be a normal stream tomorrow, but then Friday night and on, we'll be doing traveling streams. So I don't know what we'll be doing, but we'll see. Thank you for hanging with me and watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for the help as always. And I'll see y'all next stream. Have a great night.